Donald Trump has always been a deal maker. From his real estate empire, to The Apprentice, to the presidency. His strategy has been clear. Dominate the room, create uncertainty, and force his opponent to blink first. But are these tactics genius negotiation moves, or just reckless gambles? Today, we're diving into the art of the deal, breaking down Trump's biggest negotiation victories and some of his most controversial moves as president of the United States. Trump's strategy is built around a few key principles, and let's break them down. I always like to do is to sit back, listen, study, learn something. Number one, make the first offer extreme. Example, in The Art of the Deal, Trump explains that by making a huge, bold first offer, he sets the stage for negotiation on his terms. Real world example, when he wanted to buy the Commodore Hotel in New York City, he negotiated a tax break that made the deal possible by starting with extreme demands. Number two, control the narrative. Trump understands the power of perception. He doesn't just negotiate behind closed doors. He negotiates in the media, out front, in front of everybody. Example, during the 2016 campaign, he labeled opponents with nicknames like Low Energy Jeb and Crooked Hillary, shaping public perception before they could even respond. Number three, never show weakness. Always project strength. He believes looking weak is worse than losing a deal. Example, his handling of North Korea, calling Kim Jong-un Little Rocket Man while simultaneously offering a handshake, kept everyone on edge. They didn't know what to think. Number four, create leverage, even if it's artificial. In Trump's case, maybe it's made up. Trump often makes people believe he has leverage when he doesn't. For example, his threat to shut down NAFTA unless it was renegotiated forced Canada and Mexico to the table, resulting in the USMCA deal. Whether you like him or not, he definitely has a rule book, a playbook that he goes by, and he just executes. Is that something that you or I could implement in our negotiation? Now let's look at some of Trump's most effective negotiation. Number one, that New York City real estate power moves in the 70s and 80s, back when he was Mr. Disco in Studio 54, Trump mastered the art of leveraging tax breaks and media hype to turn failing billet into gold mine. The Grand Hyatt deal, Trump convinced the city to give him a 40-year tax break, saving millions and proving he can negotiate massive government incentives. Number two, one of his big ones, the 2016 Republican primary strategy. Trump dominated the debates by disrupting traditional politics, attacking opponents directly, and refusing to play the usual rules. He dictated the conversations, making experienced politicians react to him rather than vice versa. Number three, trade war with China. Whether it was a good deal or not is debatable, but Trump's tariffs and aggressive stance forced China into renegotiating trade policies. By constantly escalating, he made the Chinese government unsure of his next move, forcing them to negotiate under pressure. He constantly keeps people off balance. Number four, the Abraham Accords. Middle East peace deals. Many thought peace in the Middle East was impossible, but Trump's team brokered deals between Israel, the UAE, and Bahrain. His approach ignored traditional diplomacy and applied business-style negotiations instead. Of course, not every Trump negotiation worked out. Let's look at when some of these tactics hurt him. The government shutdown over border wall funding. Trump adamantly refused to budge on his demand for border wall funding, leading to the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. In the end, he had to reopen the government without securing full funding. It was pretty much a failure. Number two, the 2020 election challenges. Trump attempted to use the courts and pressure state officials to overturn results. His usual tactics, creating chaos and waiting for others to blink, didn't work against the legal system at all. In fact, the legal system turned against him. Number three, trade war fallout. While the China trade war pressured Beijing, it also hurt U.S. farmers and manufacturers, leading to bailouts and mixed economic results. Trump is proving that his negotiation tactics still work. For three of the biggest deals, he has started laying the groundwork. The new Western strategy, Mexico, Canada, and South America. Trump has already made an aggressive stance on border security, trade, and even tariff, making them flinch. His goal, restructure USMCA and force Mexico to crack down harder on immigration or face economic pressures. In fact, creating chaos, he keeps talking about making Canada the 51st state. He's like, why give them all this money? I would feel much better if they were a state. Wild card move. There's talk of securing military presence in Panama to counter growing Chinese influence in the Panama Canal, key strategic waterway. I I think this whole Western hemisphere is definitely on his agenda. Number 2, energy and security deals with Colombia and Greenland. Trump has always pushed for American energy dominance. Colombia, he can negotiate oil and trade deals using military and aid as leverage. Greenland, he could pursue U.S. military expansion there to counter Russian and Chinese in the Arctic. Number 3, ending the Ukraine war and new deals with Russia. Trump claims he can end the war and make a deal. His likely move? Threaten to pull U.S. aid to force Ukraine into direct talks with Russia. He could also use NATO funding as a bargaining chip to get European countries to take on more of the cost. But most recently, he's been talking to Putin directly, so may even be cutting Ukraine out of the talks altogether. So what's the takeaway? Love him or hate him, Trump is a master of high-stakes negotiation. His tactics, aggression, unpredictability, and relentless confidence have led to both major wins and major losses. But what do you think? Are these power plays the future of negotiation? Or do they only work when the stakes are in Trump's favor? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into business, leadership, and power moves. See you next time on Kevin Navigates.